Imagine telling a football player in 1885 that one day, a single football contract could be worth more than the GDP of some small countries. He'd probably think you were joking. Yet here we are. Today, football's biggest stars earn amounts that seem almost impossible to imagine. So, how did we get here? Let's rewind the clock. When football didn't pay the bills. Today, becoming a professional footballer is a dream career. But in the beginning, being a professional football player barely meant making a living. When England officially legalized professionalism in 1885, footballers finally had permission to receive wages for playing. Sounds exciting, until you realize what life was actually like. Many players still worked in factories, coal mines, railways, or shipyards. Football wasn't their main job. It was their second job. Train after work, play on weekends, then go back to work on Monday morning. Forget luxury cars. Some players were just hoping football could help pay the rent. Exploding at weight. Really, early professional footballers often had to ask their employers for time off just to travel for away matches. Missing work could mean losing wages from their regular job. Imagine today's Champions League stars asking, "Boss, can I leave early on Friday? I have a match in Liverpool." The salary cap that lasted 60 years. As football grew, club owners became nervous. What if rich clubs simply bought every great player? To stop that from happening, English football introduced something that sounds surprisingly modern. A salary cap. Beginning in the early 1900s, the Football League imposed a maximum wage, limiting what clubs could pay players. At one point, the in-season limit was just £4 per week, although some top players had earned more before the cap was introduced. Imagine telling Kylian Mbappé, "Sorry, league rules say you can't earn any more." He'd probably laugh. But for decades, footballers had no choice. Even the best players in England couldn't negotiate freely. The idea wasn't to punish players. It was to keep the league competitive. If every club could only pay similar wages, then in theory, every club had a chance. It sounded fair. But players hated it. The man who changed football forever. For nearly 60 years, players lived under the maximum wage. Then one man asked a dangerous question. What if footballers were free to negotiate their own salaries? That man was Jimmy Hill. Many fans know him as a television personality. But long before that, he helped lead the campaign to abolish the maximum wage through the Players' Union. In 1961, the cap was finally removed after years of pressure from players and the Professional Footballers Association. Almost overnight, everything changed. One of the first major beneficiaries was Johnny Haynes, who became famous as Britain's first £100-a-week footballer. Today, that sounds tiny. Back then, it was headline news. People genuinely wondered, how can one footballer earn £100 every week? If only they knew what was coming. Exploding head mind-blown moment. In the early 1900s, newspapers complained that footballers were already being paid outrageous wages. The outrageous salary? Around £4 a week. It's a reminder that every generation thinks athletes are earning too much. Television changed everything. If one invention made footballers rich, it wasn't better boots or bigger stadiums. It was television. Before TV, a football club's income came mainly from ticket sales. No fans in the stadium? No money. But television completely changed the economics of sport. Broadcasters paid enormous sums for the right to show matches. Sponsors followed. Advertising exploded. Then came the internet. Streaming. Social media. Global audiences. Suddenly, a club in England wasn't just selling tickets to local supporters. It was entertaining hundreds of millions of fans around the world. And when a business grows from thousands of customers to billions, so do the salaries. The era of billion-dollar football. Today, football is one of the biggest entertainment industries on earth. Top clubs generate revenue through broadcasting rights, sponsorship deals, merchandise, stadium income, digital media, global tours, commercial partnerships. A modern football club isn't just a sports team. It's an international media company. And footballers? They're no longer just athletes. They're global brands. Some earn more from sponsorships than from football itself. Exploding at weight. Really, a superstar footballer's income isn't just their salary. For many of the world's biggest names, endorsements with sportswear companies, luxury brands, and global advertisers add tens of millions of dollars each year on top of their club wages. Sometimes, the commercials pay almost as well as the goals. The Saudi Revolution. Then, another surprise changed football. In the early 2020s, clubs in the Saudi Pro League began offering contracts unlike anything the sport had seen before. Some players were offered salaries worth hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of their contracts. For the first time, Europe wasn't automatically the highest-paying destination. The global football economy had entered a new era. So, are footballers overpaid? It's one of the oldest arguments in sports. Some people say, how can someone earn millions just for kicking a ball? Others answer, they're not being paid for kicking a ball. They're being paid because billions of people choose to watch them kick that ball. Think of it this way. A footballer's salary isn't determined only by talent. It's determined by value. If one player helps attract millions of viewers, sells millions of jerseys, fills stadiums, and inspires global sponsorship deals, then, from a business perspective, that player becomes one of the company's most valuable assets. Whether that's fair? Well, that's a debate football fans have been having for over a century. The next time you see headlines about a footballer earning millions every week, remember this. The first professional footballers weren't millionaires. They weren't celebrities. Many spent their mornings in factories, their afternoons training, and their weekends playing football. They helped build the game. The stars of today are simply standing on the shoulders of those pioneers. And perhaps that's the most incredible transformation of all. From workers earning a few pounds a week, to global icons earning hundreds of millions. That's not just the story of football. It's the story of how a simple game became one of the biggest businesses on earth.